No trade union action during polls. Election Commission makes requests to professionals and trade unions. Protecting the good image of the country. President Maithripala Sirisena signals introduction of new regulations to end re-export of tea and pepper. Assuring right to information. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe says no requirement to hide any detail of the Bond Commission report. IPL auction. 2 Sri Lankan players bought for 5 million Indian rupees each. In despair and fear, the death toll following Saturday's deadly bombing in Kabul rises to over 100. Good evening and welcome to First at 9. I'm Katharina Chang. On to your top story tonight. President Maithripala Sirisena has convened a special party leaders meeting tomorrow to discuss the reports by the Commission of Inquiry into the central bank bond issuances and Presidential Commission of Inquiry to investigate and inquire into serious acts of fraud, corruption and abuse of power, state resources and privileges. The meeting will be held at the Presidential Secretariat at 9 a.m. Meanwhile, Chairman of the Election Commission, Mahinda Deshapriya, convened a media briefing today to address rumours that the local government election will be postponed if a parliamentary debate is to be held on the 8th of February.
As per election laws, the election can be postponed only if there is a natural disaster or inability to hold the election at all. If that happens, the election must be postponed for a time period exceeding 3 weeks. But the Election Commission strongly suggests to hold the election by the 10th of February. We request all trade unions as well as citizens to refrain from engaging in any activities that could disrupt the election process until the 15th of February. Many ask us as to what would happen if the Parliament session is convened on the 8th of February. The Election Commission hasn't made a definite decision on it yet, and all 3 of the Election Commissioners will have to hold a discussion on the matter. And if someone asks us what would our opinion be if there is a debate on the bond issue on the 8th of February, we won't have an answer for it. But the Election Commission would prefer this debate to be held before the 8th. The highlight is that the 8th and the 9th of February will fall under the silent period before the election. What can we do about that? I don't think any election commission had to go through such a problem before.
President Maithripala Sirisena pledges to put an end to the re-export business for tea and pepper, citing severe constraints to industry sustainability. Speaking at a rally in Talawakale, President added that a special committee will be appointed to look into the introduction of a new action plan for plantation industry. The SLFP organised another campaign rally ahead of the local authorities election in Talawakale today. It was held under the patronage of SLFP Chairman President Maithripala Sirisena.
Sri Lanka Prajatantrika Samajwadi Janarajaye Garu Janadipatituman Maithripala Sirisena Mettuman Aitihasika Talawakale Nagare Adadine Pevatwana.
Many parliamentarians representing the party participated in the rally today. Two councillors who were to represent the Sri Lanka Podu Jana Peramuna from the Ambagamuwa Pradesha Sabha pledged their support to the Sri Lanka Freedom Party.
I think larger land should be given for you to construct your houses. Tea estate owners haven't replanted in years. Tea export is one of the main foreign exchange incomes for us. Many changes need to be introduced to the tea plantation sector. I expect to appoint a specialist committee to look into introducing a new action plan for the plantation industries and other relevant sectors. The Sri Lankan tea industry has been affected because of certain tea exporters who export tea products by mixing low-quality local tea with high-quality imported tea. Re-exports must be stopped because there are a lot of fraudulent activities taking place. I will take immediate action on the re-exports. Meanwhile, pepper prices have also decreased. Sri Lankan peppers have lost its value because of the same reason as tea, where imported high-quality pepper are mixed with low-quality local pepper for the purpose of exporting. I expect to gather the tea planters, businessmen and all relevant government institutions to expedite the process on replantation of tea.
Let's now take a look at some views expressed by politicians ahead of the local government election.
Can this kind of a government develop the village? Prime Minister Wickremesinghe, there is no reason for villagers to cast their votes for the UNP. There is a proposal to nullify former President Mahinda Rajapaksa's civic rights due to evading payments for the marketing campaign done by ITN. It is also true that there are some members within the government who have struck deals with the Rajapaksas. I have an innocent request to them. That is, let us not separate. If we have any problems, let's sort them out on the 10th of February by making the SLFP stronger. We already told you to leave all of those ministerial positions and join us, now that the government is unable to achieve anything they had promised. They want to join hands with us. They don't have steady political principles. We ended the Rajapaksha era in this country, but we didn't appoint a UNP member for the position. When we appointed him to the position, we expected him to be unbiased, although he isn't a UNP member. He's not grateful at all. It's time to send him home too. Some say they are responsible for appointing the president. But I must say there was none other than President Maithripala Sirisena who could have challenged former President Mahinda Rajapaksa. They called those who came to catch thieves, the thieves. The LTTE bombed the central bank 27 years ago and elephants attacked it 3 years ago. After the elephant attack, the economy collapsed. And it becomes a problem when trying to find those responsible.
Gaul Road from Gaul Face roundabout to Old Parliament will be closed from 7 am to 12 noon on January 31st and from the 1st to the 3rd of February due to Independence Day rehearsals. Therefore, police have advised drivers to use alternative ways during this time period. With this, let's now take a look at some of the news making stories across Sri Lanka. Award-winning film director and scriptwriter Dharmasena Pathiraja passed away this morning at the age of 74 while receiving treatment at a private hospital in Kandy. Educated at Dharmaraja College in Kandy, Pathiraja entered the film industry in 1974 and has gone on to win presidential awards for Best Director and Scriptwriter throughout his career. His films have been recognized at international film festivals across the globe. The funeral was held at the Mahiyava Public Cemetery in Kandy this evening. A Nigerian national was caught with 2 kilograms of ice, also known as crystal methamphetamine, which is an addictive stimulant drug. According to the Police Narcotics Bureau of the Bandaranaike International Airport, the drug was concealed in the handbag of the suspect. A wildfire erupted in the Ruanpura area in the Mahavali zone, which falls under the purview of the Hatton Police. Police suspect the cause of the fire is due to dry weather conditions prevalent in the area. A protest held against the release of a driver who was responsible for the death of a child owing to a motor accident in the Atamagaha area in Batapola, Ambalanguda recently concluded today. The protest came to a halt after police notified area residents that the driver and his assistant were taken to custody. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe states that there is nothing to hide pertaining to the report of the Presidential Commission of Inquiry that probed Treasury bond issuances. He made this remark at a rally held in Kegaul today.
The United National Party held a rally in Kegaul today aiming the upcoming local government election. The rally was presided over by Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe.
අපේ රටේ අනාගතයට රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ අග්‍රාමාත්‍යතුමාගේ සම්ප්‍රාප්තියයි ඒ සිදුනේ.
Many voiced a need for a debate on the bond inquiry report and I convened Parliament on the 10th of January. They ended the session hooting and screaming. Now the talk is about the 2 Presidential Commission reports on the Treasury bond issuances and the serious acts of fraud, and also on the convening date of Parliament. Whether it will happen before the elections or not, we have nothing to hide. We are open and transparent. When we came to power, we gave the freedom to talk and criticize. We never put barriers like the previous government. No white vans. The freedom is completely protected and we will be able to hold an election with freedom. We have given media its freedom, but they criticize the UNP. This government will remain in power up until 2020.
You are watching Sri Lanka's award-winning news channel, Derana 24/7.
On to the local business arena, market analysts forecast low activity in the week ahead due to the upcoming local government election. However, driven by bargain hunting, foreigners are expected to be active in the market. Let's now cross over to Achudan Srirangan from First Capital Holdings for a detailed picture as to how the markets will perform this week.
We expect the market to continue to witness slowness in the activity with a prevailing uncertainty on the political front. Local buying interest and the turnover levels are likely to remain low, adopting a wait-and-see approach as the investors are looking out for the proper direction in the market index. However, the foreigners are likely to be active, primarily driven by the bargain hunting. Despite lower volumes, we expect activity to dominate by the blue chip counters.
It is now time to take a look at some corporate news in brief. SoftLogic Automobiles handed over a fleet of King Long buses purchased by Mayflower Holidays recently. The event also saw the presentation of product training certificates to the drivers of the fleet. SoftLogic Automobiles is partnered with manufacturers of King Long buses, Xiamen King Long, United Automotive Industry Manufacturers of China. The launch of 100-plus isotonic drink was held recently under the auspices of Minister of Sports Dasiri Jasekara. The event was organized by the official distributor of the energy drink, Brown Pharmaceutical. 100-plus is currently distributed in Singapore, Malaysia and Myanmar. Associated Motorways together with Yamaha organized a motorbike rally which took place from Colombo to Jaffna recently. The 3-day journey saw the participation of 25 riders. This initiative is held for the 5th consecutive year to promote unity and peace in the country. On to the international business arena now. State Secretary in Germany's Economics Ministry, Matthias Matsching, said Germany wants to acquire legal means to take a closer look at bids from Chinese companies to acquire German and European companies in order to better protect technologies. In an interview with a German newspaper, he said it was urgent that proposed Europe-wide measures to police surging Chinese investment be adopted by the end of this year. The newspaper cited a study by the Cologne Institute for Economic Research that showed the volume of known Chinese investments in Germany had risen to 12.1 billion euros in 2017 from around 11 billion the year before and just 100 million euros 7 years ago. Concern has been growing across Europe at China's buying spree on the continent, with investors snapping up often iconic businesses in a way many fear could threaten Europe's position as a high-value economy. U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson said yesterday that the United States sees the planned Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline between Russia and Germany as a threat to Europe's energy security. Poland, Ukraine and Baltic states fear the pipeline would increase Europe's dependence on Russian gas and provide the Kremlin with billions of dollars of additional revenue to finance a further military build-up on European Union's borders.
Speaking at a joint news conference with Polish Foreign Minister in Warsaw, U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson said the Nord Stream 2 project, which he called a tool to politicize energy, undermined Europe's overall energy security and stability. The U.S. administration is concerned that Nord Stream 2, which would concentrate 75% of Russian gas shipments to Europe, could help Moscow use energy as a weapon. Poland, which spent 4 decades under Soviet domination after World War II, still imports Russian gas to meet about 2/3 of its consumption. But it has invested in a liquefied natural gas terminal on the Baltic coast to diversify supplies and plans to build a gas link to Norway.
Back to one of our local news now. Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa states that an executive president should be responsible when making a statement and should make sure that it contains the truth. He made this comment speaking at a rally held in Ampara yesterday.
Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna organised a rally in Ampara yesterday ahead of the upcoming local government election. The rally was presided over by the former President Mahinda Rajapaksa.
When I read the newspaper, I was shocked to see that the country's president states that foreign exchanges of 10 trillion US dollars has been stolen and 9 trillion out of the 10 has disappeared. I received calls from Britain and France asking whether it's the truth. I asked them not to panic and they in return told me who wouldn't. 10 trillion US dollars should be multiplied by 150 to get the amount in rupees. He says that there is no record on the 9 trillion US dollars out of 10 trillion US dollars. Either he is confused and has no idea about millions and trillions, or he's just used to lying and saying anything that comes into his mind. A president cannot act in such a way. An executive president of the country should be responsible for what he's saying, because every word uttered should be the truth.
Meanwhile, leader of the Janata Vimukti Peramuna parliamentarian Anura Kumara Disanayaka says certain politicians who present themselves as patriotic are money-driven. He made this remark at a public rally held yesterday.
Another public rally organised by the Janata Vimukti Peramuna to garner support for the upcoming local government election was held in Monaragala yesterday. The rally was held under the patronage of party leader parliamentarian Anura Kumara Disanayaka.
When Mahinda Rajapaksa became president, Basil came to do business. But as soon as he lost, he went back to the United States. So why did he return? He came back because the FCID filed a case against him at the Kaduvela court for stealing money from Divinagama. Therefore, he had to appear before courts, and when he did, he had to surrender his passport to the courts. He was not able to leave, so now he has formed the Flowerbud Party. Do you think he was a part of the formation of this party because he loves the country? No, it is because he loves the money. Do you think Mahinda Alutgamage is patriotic? He has several houses in Colombo, land in Kandy, shops in the airport. He is saving money and land abroad while his daughter studies in America. Some may think Vimal Veeravansa is patriotic. The Commission to Investigate Bribery or Corruption has filed a case against him from 2010 to 2015. We wonder how he raised 70 million and 100,000 rupees to fund these cases. When asked about this, the court said he has been an MP for 17 years and raised this money by depositing a monthly salary of 65,000 in his savings. Do you think this is true? All these people have stolen the people's money. There are only two types of camps. One which belongs to thieves and the other is for fraudsters. That consists of Maitripala, Mahinda and Ranil. If you want a party that can build the economy and bring about a bright future, then cast your vote for Janata Vimukti Peramune Kandaura Tamunasrani.
The death toll from yesterday's suicide bombing in Kabul has risen to over 100 and the numbers of injuries stand at 158. A bomb hidden in an ambulance detonated a police checkpoint in the Afghan capital. The Taliban claimed responsibility for the attack.
Kabul reacted in despair and fear today, a day after a suicide bomb in the center of the city killed and wounded more than 250 people in the worst attack seen in the Afghan capital in months. With security officials warning that more attacks were possible after an ambulance packed with explosives blew up in a crowded city street, there was a mix of helpless anger at the seemingly endless wave of attacks. As medical teams struggled to handle the casualties pouring in, some of the wounded were laid out in the open, with intravenous drips set up next to them in hospital gardens. Buildings hundreds of meters away were shaken by the force of the blast, which left torn bodies scattered all over the street amid piles of rubble, debris and wrecked cars. It was the worst attack seen in the Afghan capital since a truck bomb near the German embassy killed 150 people in May of last year.
Let's now look at some of the stories emerging from across the world.
Gunmen have stormed a nightclub in northeast Brazil in the early hours of yesterday, killing at least 14 people. 2 minors are among the dead and several people were taken to hospital, including a 12-year-old boy. 7 survivors have been located floating in a small dinghy, including an unconscious baby, after a ferry carrying 50 people sank in the Pacific. An image provided by the New Zealand Defence Force showed the survivors inside the 4x5-meter dinghy, with the Rescue Coordination Centre of New Zealand confirming a fishing vessel was diverted to assist in the rescue. Spain's Constitutional Court has moved to block pro-independence politician Carles Puigdemont from assuming the presidency of Catalonia, citing that he cannot lead the region's parliament from abroad. The former leader has been living in Brussels since he declared independence in October, resulting in charges of sedition and rebellion against him. Vila, one of the oldest gorillas in the world, has died at the age of 60. San Diego Zoo Safari Park announced that Vila, who was born in the Congo in 1957, died surrounded by members of her family troupe day before yesterday. She was the matriarch of 5 generations.
You are watching Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Derana 24/7.
With yesterday's victory over Bangladesh at the Tri-Nation Series final, stand-in skipper of Sri Lanka Dinesh Chandimal said that proper execution of plans helped them win the series. He made this remark during a post-match interview at Dhaka yesterday.
It has been nearly a year and 4 months since Sri Lanka won a series. Breaking away from the losing streak that haunted Sri Lanka for months, the national side won the Tri-Nation One-Day International Series against Bangladesh yesterday.
Get a hat-trick, what a way to win a final, what a hand Mahmudullah played.
Following the match, an overwhelmed stand-in skipper Dinesh Chandimal expressed his views.
I am very happy. A series win such as this is what we needed as a team. All credit should go to our players, coach and also to Angelo, who brought the team to this tournament. We won because of the hard work put in by the whole team. There was massive pressure for us losing the 2 previous matches of the tournament. And we won this tournament because we executed our plans properly.
Hasita Boyagoda continued his brilliant run with the bat, scoring yet another ton in the ICC Under-19 World Cup to take Sri Lanka to the Plate Championship. After winning the toss and sending the Windies into bat, the Sri Lankan youngsters did not get the start they were looking for as the opening pair put on a half-century partnership. Keegan Simmons and Bhaskar Yadaram put on 53 runs for the opening stand, but Pravinja Wickrama answered the call of captain Kamidu Mendes as he was the man to break the stand, dismissing Yadaram for a brisk 20-ball-31. Ali Kathanes remained unbeaten as he went on to finish the Windies innings on a high alongside Brad Barnes, who finished with a 36-ball-37, taking the team total to 254 for the loss of 5 wickets in their allotted 50 overs. Chasing the modest target, Sri Lanka got off to the best start possible as the opening pair of Dhananjay Lakshan and Hasita Boyagoda put on a double century stand. The opener from Trinity College was the first to depart as Lakshan followed suit soon after for 98, missing out on a valiant century by 2 runs. Nuanindu Fernando was the only other batsman to get into double figures as a valuable 14 from the tail ender took the Lankans towards the finish line. Fernando was dismissed with the Sri Lankans requiring a further 6 runs to win with only 1 over left. Harin Buddila took 4 balls and pinched a single to win the game and hand Sri Lanka the plate title at the ICC Under-19 World Cup. On to some rugby news now. During the weekend encounters of the Rugby League 2017, CRNFC registered victory over Havelock Sports Club by 8 points. In the meantime, Sri Lanka Police defeated Air Force by 6 points at their encounter in Police Park.
CRNFC and Havelock Sports Club locked horns at the Havelock Park yesterday, and both sides were aggressive in the quest for points. Havelock Sports Club collected 12 points in the first half with 4 penalties, while CRNFC collected 8 points with a try and a penalty. Despite Havelock leading the first half, a stellar second half comeback by CRNFC helped them secure victory against Havelock, beating the latter 30-22. Meanwhile, in the encounter between Sri Lanka Police and Air Force, Sri Lanka Police scored 15 points in the first half. They included 12 tries, a conversion and a penalty. Air Force could only collect 5 points with 1 try. In the second half, Sri Lanka Police were able to score another penalty, extending their total to 18. Air Force could only score 7 more points and were outperformed by Sri Lanka Police 18-12.
Players went under the hammer for a second day for the 11th edition of the Indian Premier League in Bengaluru today. 2 Sri Lankan players, including Akila Dhananjay and Dushmantha Chamira, were sold out for 5 million Indian rupees by franchises Mumbai Indians and Rajasthan Royals, respectively.
The Indian Premier League auction took place for the second consecutive day, with players going under the hammer, with some sold and some unsold. All-rounder Ben Stokes remains as the cricketer with the highest bid against his name for the second consecutive season, as he was bought by the Rajasthan Royals for $2.4 million. Sri Lankan bowlers Dushmantha Chamira and Akila Dhananjay were lucky enough as they were bought by Rajasthan Royals and Mumbai Indians respectively for $78,650 each. Lasith Malinga, however, went unsold, but big hitter Gale was sold for $312,500 to the Kings 11 Punjab.
In tennis, Roger Federer won his 6th Australian Open and 20th Grand Slam title with a 5-set victory over Marin Cilic. 36-year-old Federer becomes only the 4th player after Margaret Court, Serena Williams and Steffi Graf to win 20 or more major single titles. The final was played under the Rod Laver Arena roof as the tournament's extreme heat policy was invoked. After a poor start, Cilic looked to have the momentum when he won 5 games in a row to force a 5th set. But Federer clung on to his serve at the start of the decider and got the key break in the following game. The Swiss lost 5 games in a row as he dropped the 4th set, but recovered to win 6-2, 6-7, 6-3, 3-6, 6-1. Federer ties the record for men's Australian Open titles at 6-week Novak Djokovic and Roy Emerson and moves for clear of Rafael Nadal in the all-time list for male Grand Slam champions on 20. Let's now cross over to Sheila Fernando at the other Derana Weather Centre for your forecast first evening edition.
Good evening and welcome to Forecast First. Your temperatures for tomorrow are to vary between 18 and 29 degrees Celsius, with the lowest temperatures expected in the Central Hills. Well, looking at the map, a low pressure zone will form from the top half of the eastern province and will gradually move towards the north central. Well, tomorrow will be a sunny day to Jaffna and Colombo, but it will, however, not be the same case in Anuradhapura, Kandy, Gaul and Matara as well as Negombo, as they can expect some showers and thunder showers. That's all we have from the Weather Centre tonight. Up next is your city by city forecast.
And before we go, we'd like to take you to Switzerland. The annual Chateau Hot Air Balloon Festival kicked off yesterday in the Swiss city for its 40th edition, bringing together more than 70 pilots from 15 different countries. Between 20,000 and 40,000 people are expected to attend the 9-day festival. We hope you enjoyed these visuals. Thank you for joining us. Good night.
Bringing you the news and information 24 hours a day. This is Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.